detail trying to help Brian out and to help others with their power of 20. And I realized my microphone was not even on. So I'm just going to quickly explain this, and then I'm not going to take any trades today. It's Friday. I'm going to probably just call a session here after this slight explanation. But it's about the power of 20, guys. It's a couple things. This is not a game about how much you have in your account or how many lots you have trading, right? So it's all about points. So you should not even be thinking about how much money you have in your account or how many lots are on a trade. It should not enter your mind. If that's in your mind at all, you're putting yourself at a big disadvantage. This is a game about points. So what you need to do is calibrate your power 20 correctly. For example, if you have like a $50,000 demo account and you're saying to yourself, well, I'm only going to open like $400 or $500 account or $1,000 account, so I'm only going to trade a few minis or micros at a time. If you're thinking on this 50,000 demo, you're just going to trade micros because that's all you're going to be trading, that doesn't make any sense. We're not going to do that. Okay, that doesn't make sense. What we're going to do is base everything on percentage, right? So you have to calibrate your power of 20, and it should never matter what the account balance is on the account you're trading, and it should never matter how many lots you're trading on any account that you're trading. You should be able to go from account to account not knowing what's in the account, not caring what's in the account, and just playing for points, and that's it. You're playing for 20 pips a day, plus or minus. You don't want to go outside that, definitely not to the negative. And so what to do is to get good at that style, you need to calibrate the power of 20 correctly. That's why I made this power of 20, and that's all we should be using. The only reason I know some people might come in problems with the power of 20 is because the account size is just literally too small for the calculations to be made and for the brokers to be able to divide up lots that small. So there is a bottom limit at some point, but for the most part, you always want to be using power of 20. Okay, I'm going to show you real quick. 20 pips equals 2%. That's a pro level. All right, it's the pro level. It's a lot of risk. Okay, it's a lot. On demo, though, this is what you should be at. There's no real risk on demo. You should just get good at making 20 using these settings on demo. All right, just keep it at 20 pips equals 2%. I don't care what your demo account size is. If it's 50,000, 5,000, if you can, open a demo account that's similar to the size of account that you're going to trade with. That way you get a real feel for it. But if for some reason the broker only lets you open a 50,000 account, it doesn't matter. Keep these settings at 20 pips equals 2 and still practice making 20 pips a day. All right. Obviously, it's better to start out your demo more in line with what you're going to open. That will give you a more realistic feel of the growth. But once you go live, now once you've done well at this at demo, then this is going to be too heavy to start with. I get that. All right. Keep your risk factors keep all your risk factors on your settings, your setups at 1.0. Don't just lighten the risk factor and keep this at 20.2. You won't be able to calculate everything properly. Just keep your risk factor at 1.0 on any trade that you want a full position, or 0.5 if you want to scale in. But that's all going to be based on this power of 20 setting. So once you go live, you can set 20 pips equal to 1. I think that's a good place to start. But say, hey, you're thinking that's still more than you want to risk. Okay, that's fine. Still do it here. Don't go to the risk factors and all that. What you want to do is, if you want to cut your risk in half here, make 40 pips equal 1%. Right? That means whenever you reach 20 here on your grids and it says pips plus 20, that means you'll have made a 0.5%. Right? Because you're halfway to making your 1%. So this is the same as 20 pips equals a 0.5%. If you want to go 20 pips equals 0.25%, you could say 800, because there's 4 groups of 20 you need to get to the 1. So each group of 20 is going to be 0.25%. So this is 20 pips equals 0.25% when you hit 20 on the thing here. This pips is equal, the number of pips here, it's going to calibrate to show you what your pips will be here. So if this hits 80, then you'll hit 1%. But if you only get 20 of these, it'll be 0.25. Every 20 pips equals 0.2 or whatever, that would be 100 pips equals 1%. You can get 5 groups of 20 in there. That's 0.2% each one. You could even go 20 pips equals 0.1% by saying 200 pips. You got to put that extra 0 at the end of each time. So 200 pips equals 1%. That means every 20 pips equals 0.1% of your account. But still do it here, not in your risk factor. That way your pips here will still match and you know what you're playing for. In this case 20 pips equals 0.1%. All the risk factor means is position size. So maybe I should name it to position size, because you want that to be a full position or you want it to be a half a position. Don't use the risk factor to try to manage your risk management. Okay, you only do that in your power of 20 settings right here. All right, now if for some reason you can't because your count is too small, just enter a lot size here, set this to false. If your count's too small for the power 20 to work, it'll tell you, it'll give you a warning if it is. All right, this is Sam Shakespeare signing out.